Away from that, the Senate has expressed concerns over the huge sums of money spent by the federal government on private entities, even after the privatization of the power sector. Senate Committee on Power made this feeling known at the presentation of the Power Sector Recovery Plan by the Minister of Finance, Zainab Ahmed. Ignatius Nkwo completes this report.
The Senate at plenary mandated its Committee on Power to meet with relevant stakeholders and find out actualities of federal government spending in the power sector and its impact. The public hearing commenced with the Minister of Finance, Zainab Ahmed, making the lead presentation on federal government's financial involvement in the power sector. She explained that the federal government is currently working with some development partners to expand Nigeria's power infrastructure. These include Power Sector Recovery Plan for results with the World Bank to the tune of $750 million.
The first part of the PSRP has recently been negotiated and expected to commence implementation once all necessary negotiations and procedures have been met.
And therefore, we are privatized. The only thing we owe to these privatized public enterprises will be whatever we sign in the share purchase agreement. Nothing more.
The committee observed that while pre-privatization liabilities should be federal government's concern, all post-privatization liabilities should be handled by the private entities.
The federal government has injected over 1.5 trillion in form of intervention fund to support the power sector, especially in areas of tariff shortfalls. This has not crystallized into any meaningful improvement in power supply as expected.
At another public hearing, the Senate Committee on Science and Technology advised the Accountant General of the Federation to ensure the remittance of statutory funds to the National Agency for Science and Engineering Infrastructure.
The concept is that the Senate should be the agency that will propel Nigeria into industrialized economy.
The committee demands that the government agencies be treated equally and requests that NASANI be given its statutory funding henceforth.
I have not seen any administrative correspondence via my ministry, which should come from the Ministry of Science and Tech to my ministry, and that should be minuted to me, and that will reject action.
This is part of the committee's resolve to strengthen agencies under it. From the National Assembly, Ignatius Nkwo, NTA News.
Now let's take a look at the NBC Amendment Code. Broadcasting is dynamic, so are the challenges regulating the industry. Acting Director General, National Broadcasting Commission, Professor Armstrong Idachaba said this while stating the federal government stands on the proposed amendments of the nation's 6th Broadcasting Code. Adebola Brooks-Linsende has the details.
The Commission is responding to mixed reactions by players in the industry to the release of the amendment to the 6th edition of the Nigeria Broadcasting Code. Professor Armstrong Idachaba says they are considered healthy for the development of the broadcast industry in Nigeria.
You have a product that is highly valuable and you are agreeing to share, to sub-license, and you come to a peaceful agreement where everybody is happy. Of course, the NBC will have no role to play. It's a simple business market decision.
Professor Idachaba told newsmen that the current amendment is aimed at making the industry more responsive to emerging realities in the broadcast ecosystem.
Consciously evolve a broadcast policy that will include our own people and give them space not only to participate, but also to grow, and also fundamentally to create avenues for revenue generation, even for the people you call the small players.
The NBC acting DG said the board and management of the commission is extensively looking at all concerns and observations raised with a view to producing a regulation that will be in the best interest of the nation. The first code was issued in 1993 and the 6th, being amended, was published 4 years ago. The code represents the minimum standard for broadcasting in Nigeria, which shall be applied in accordance with professional ideals of broadcasting. Adebola Brooks-Linsende, NTA News.
Many thanks, Adebola, for that report. And that does it on this news package on NTA International. I'm Obiageli Ugoke. Thank you for watching, and you stay.
Hours a day, 7 days a week. You can watch NTA International live on your TV, computer, iPad, tablet and phone. Log on to visiontv.co.uk and click on Entertainment, then NTAI. You can also download the iOS or Android app on your mobile devices to watch NTA International on the go, anywhere in the world. NTA International, your window to the world.
You can follow us on all our social media platforms: Facebook at NTA Network News, Instagram at NTA Network, Twitter at NTA News Now, YouTube at NTA News Online. Or visit www.nta.ng. For live streaming, visit www.nta.ng/live. Now, you can stay updated on the go, be it on your TV, iPhone, laptop or iPad, or download the NTA mobile application from your Play Store or App Store. NTA, you can beat the rich.
I am...
There's a proven expression that two people working together have a better chance of solving a problem than one person working alone. Acts of this nature enables organizations to overcome setbacks and challenges in a shorter time frame. Hello and welcome to the Local Content Television program. I am Priya Faka and I'm glad to have you join us today.
The Nigerian Content Development and Monitoring Board, NCDMB, is calling on the public to follow the instructions of the Federal Ministry of Health on how to prevent the coronavirus spread. Regularly and thoroughly wash your hands with soap under running water or use alcohol-based sanitizer if water is not available. Cover your mouth and nose with your bent elbow or tissue when coughing or sneezing and dispose of the used tissue immediately. Avoid touching your eyes, nose and mouth with unwashed hands. Maintain at least 1.5 meters, that is 5 feet distance between yourself and anyone who is coughing or sneezing. Avoid contact with people if you have traveled recently to a country with COVID-19 outbreak in the last 14 days. If you have a fever, cough or breathing difficulty, call the Nigerian Center for Disease Control, NCDC, at 0800-9700-0010. Let us work together to stop the spread of the coronavirus. Reports any suspected case of COVID-19 to the NCDC toll-free line or visit NCDC website at ncdc.gov.ng for more information. This message is powered by the Nigerian Content Development and Monitoring Board, NCDMB.
On this episode, we bring you the inaugural ceremony of the new Governing Council of the Nigerian Content Development and Monitoring Board, held in Abuja. Keep watching.
The Governing Council is the highest decision-making organ of the Nigerian Content Development and Monitoring Board, NCDMB. Section 75 of the Nigerian Oil and Gas Industry Content Development Act empowers the Governing Council to manage and superintend the affairs of the board and make rules and regulations for its proper functioning, among other responsibilities. The council is made up of the Minister of Petroleum Resources as the chairman, the Executive Secretary of NCDMB as Secretary of the Council, and representatives of the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation, Department of Petroleum Resources, Ministry of Petroleum Resources, Petroleum Technology Association of Nigeria, Nigerian Content Consultative Forum, the Council for the Regulation of Engineering in Nigeria, and National Insurance Commission. Recently, at a brief ceremony in Abuja, a new governing council was inaugurated by the Honorable Minister of State for Petroleum Resources, Chief Temitope Silva. The new governing council members are Peace Oyambo Owe from the Ministry of Petroleum Resources, the first female to be on the council. Engineer Saraki Awalu, Department of Petroleum Resources. Engineer Farouk Said, Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation. Lauren Dari Thomas, National Insurance Commission. And Nicholas Odinue, Petroleum Technology Association of Nigeria, PETAN. Returning members of the council include Mina Oforiokuma, Nigerian Content Consultative Forum, Engineer Abdul Kashim Ali, representing the Council for the Regulation of Engineering in Nigeria. In his welcome address, the Executive Secretary NCDMB, Engineer Simbi Bote, thanked the Honorable Minister of State for Petroleum Resources, Chief Temitope Silva, for showing exemplary leadership and expressed delight over the new governing council members to be inaugurated.
On behalf of the management and staff of NCDMB, I want to profusely thank the Honorable Minister of State for Petroleum Resources for his leadership and guidance in all our dealings. We are delighted that under his leadership, we are growing in leaps and bounds, and history is being made in the industry, and even as we gather together in this room. It is on record that we took the final investment decision and signed a multi-billion-dollar contract for the execution of the NLNG Train 7 project, right in the thick of a global pandemic. We at the board are extremely grateful for the extensive roles you played to get the Train 7 project across the finish line. You have made history by putting an end to the 7-year drought of major FIDs in the oil and gas industry. At NCDMB, we are always excited when projects such as the NLNG Train 7 get sanctioned so that our in-country capacities can be utilized and grown for further opportunities. We are also making history, sir, in this room, as we are about to witness the inauguration of the first ever female member of our governing council. We are really excited and grateful. We are really excited and grateful at the diversity and caliber of the incoming members of our governing council. At NCDMB, we pride ourselves in the promotion of diversity in our activities.
Engineer Wabote also spoke about the importance of local content in the context of the global COVID-19 crisis.
COVID-19 has shown that when there are existential threats, and nations are forced to close their borders, the ability of a country to cater for its people in a safe and secure environment is inversely proportional to its level of reliance on importation. Most nations diverted